Today, me and Will are going to go into something called the bag. This is high risk. Let's get into it. Will, how are you?
Good, Simon. This token was a little bit surprising because when I went into it, I was thinking to myself, "Oh my goodness, not another meme coin!" And look at the spelling, TH bag. It just looked totally silly. But as I read a little bit more into it, I thought these guys kind of have something going on. It's really interesting. It's very out there, but it's kind of cool. I actually want to say that it's probably the ultimate meme coin out there in that they've taken memeing and then they've gone way overboard with it. They've taken to another level, like you said, throwing in AI and all these kinds of other things into it. It would be really cool to get into this project and I guess explore how it works.
Absolutely. And it's definitely leaning into memes, but it also has a real working product underneath it and a real working tokenomics, which make it kind of, I don't know, I guess it's just a really great combination. And I guess the market's going to decide if there's actually value in it. But I think I'll try and summarize what I think it is, and then let's hear your words on it because it is a tough one to get your head around. But it is
Hmm.
basically a AI powered social media trending system. I guess the project basically is trying to make communities help increase their trend of their token on Twitter by creating a buyback system where if I am the seller or marketer of my coin, I can use Bagbot to try and entice my community to start shilling it, maybe not the right word, just trending it on Twitter by hashtagging it, promoting it, getting it up the Twitter trend uh, dynamics, which gives two things to a degree. It makes the product more visible to the end audience. So that's the marketing appeal. More people are seeing it because it's trending in Twitter. And also, I'm rewarding the community by lifting its trend by buying back the token and burning it. So it gives an incentivization for people to actually want to try and promote their token. Kind of confusing, Will. What's your take on it?
Hmm. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it's about trending on Twitter. And that's kind of the whole thing of what a meme is. A meme is an idea that spreads pretty violently and invented by Richard Dawkins. But what these guys are doing is that they're using AI to find what they call points of interest in social media. And so far, I believe it's Twitter, Telegram. I wouldn't be surprised if they're on Discord and other places. And what they do is they alert their community to jump on these trending places and start shilling their own token. So the trend might be something that is completely different and unrelated to the bag, but what they do is they jump onto this thing and they just start shilling it. And once they do that, of course, the bug starts to trend as well. And other people get into it and they start to wonder, what is this? It looks like it's something big, kind of similar to how Pepe and Dodge have kind of grown up over the months. But this thing has happened kind of really quickly. And this whole, I suppose, AI powered and intentional memeing has brought the bag into the mind space of everybody. And I guess this is kind of what is causing the increased interest and the faith that the price will go up, which I guess is kind of like a self fulfilling prophecy. So it's all about memeing and trending.
Definitely. I mean, social media is obviously a huge powerhouse and everybody needs to use it. I think the thing find really interesting about this project is obviously it's a huge amount of really Web 2 in the background, this AI powered thing to help understand the Twitter algorithm, how to keep trending it, how to push it to people and make your coin more visible on Twitter is all a big
Mm.
Web 2 thing, AI and pushing that. And then it adds the Web 3 thing by adding in buybacks and burn mechanisms. It's a great combination of the two kind of thing. And I think that's to me a real thing going forward is that everything's not just all Web 3, it's an integration of both. So I really like what they're doing there with that. And I think that gives it real value in my mind. It's not just trying
Mm.
to be one thing, it's trying to blend Web 2, Web 3 together.
I think what they've done really cleverly is that they've managed to create a two-sided market where the one side is the memers, quite literally the DJs who just want the price to go up, and so the value prop to that side is that they tell them, hey, you guys are probably tired of waiting for founders and market makers and developers to make the price go up, which is kind of what you see when you go to Discord. There's when ICO, when price, when Binance, when all of this. And it's the DGen kind of waiting for the developer to do something for the price. The DGen has already bought the token. What these guys have done is they've said, well, the developers can do their own thing, but then you don't have to wait for them. All you have to do is meme when we tell you and where we tell you. And if you do it as an army, it's a raid, and this will bring your token into the public mind space and hopefully get the price to go up. So that's one side of the market, and they've done it really well. And once they've captured all of these, let's call them degens. Let's call them degens. I'm a degen as well. Uh, they can go to other tokens and say, "Hey, look, we've got this massive meme army. Look what they've done to our token. Guess what they can do for your token for a price, of course." So that's kind of really cool how they've married those sides, and it seems they've done it really quickly.
Yeah, I think to put it in a very succinct way, to me, it's allowing you to monetize your community in so many ways. You know, if you've got a token that has 10,000 strong people following it, interested in the token, probably owners to a degree, it's monetizing them or utilizing them to help push it out, and they're incentivizing them to do it because you're going to buy back some of the coins themselves when they do it. But that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They want it to trend on Twitter because then other people will see the project and other people want to buy the project. So it really creates that cascading effect. It's a really unique idea, and it's not just a great idea, I guess, for the public or the marketers who want to use this, but the bag token itself is pretty cool as well. So should we jump into that? Will what's the bag token and what it's trying to do?
Well, it's a meme. That's how it started. But then there's a lot of other cool things you can do in that. When you go to the Bags official site, you can actually stake it for LP rewards. That's kind of real nice and DeFi. But then the other things you can do is you can also do single-sided staking. So you lock it up, showing that you have faith in the project, and then you get more bag tokens as well. But then you can also buy NFTs that give you special utility, like it lets you shield certain activities, and it lets you gives you affiliate rewards for bringing other projects into the bag. So there's all these kind of really cool use cases, and I don't know if you can call this a use case, but if another service does come into the Bags ecosystem and they want bag holders to shield on their behalf, what happens is that this other group that needs their token promoted will also buy back and burn bag tokens, which is kind of like a win for everybody. So there's all sorts of kind of really cool use cases, but in the end, it just comes down to, I think, one, the meme, and two, the burn, and that theoretically raises the price for everybody.
Yeah, and
Did
I
I
don't
miss
think it's
anything? Yeah, yeah.
I don't
Mm,
think it's necessarily trying to get the bag community to shill another project. I don't think that's really what it's about. The bag community wants to shill, I guess, the bag itself in some ways, but that community there doesn't necessarily care about who is using the protocol to promote. So
mm,
the protocol wants to help the community from XYZ token promote itself. And so
mm,
XYZ's community are the ones that are incentivized to do it. The bag community, I don't necessarily think that they cross over. I mean, okay, yes, if more people are using the protocol, then bag holders do better. So there's somewhat incentivization, but I think the main target audience of the bag protocol is other communities who want to have their community engaged in their project. So I think there's a bit of a distinction
mm,
there. And
mm,
the the company that uses the bag protocol, well, 2% of what they put into the system to promote goes to the bag community because that buys back the token and that burns the token. So that creates constant buy pressure. So it's effectively a revenue stream. 2% of usage of the protocol goes to buying and burning bag community. So that's a revenue stream for bag holders. I think that's kind of big difference there. Is that they're not together, but they're not separated either because obviously bag community wants more
mm,
and more people to use the project.
mm. That makes a lot of sense. And if these numbers are to be believed, it says that projects who use Backbot have seen the price actually go up by 40 to even 450%. That's kind of a big rise. So I guess the marketing does seem pretty effective for these kinds of projects.
And it'd be interesting to see because I haven't seen stats yet of what projects have been using Bag protocol. I don't know who's been doing it because 450% is probably easy if it's a very low cap market coin that a bit of promotion on Twitter gets some degens interested. There's a lot of people who follow Twitter trends, and if something starts to rocket up the Twitter trend, there's degens that will go in and buy that token based off that, and that's where that appreciation comes in. That's where that snowball effect comes in, and that's really what you want. So I'd be interested to see how this works on larger market cap coins. How much can they move the price? How much can they move the trend? I mean, the bigger the community, the bigger the push they can have with
Mm.
it. So I think there's still some question marks to be around this, being who's using it and how much further engagement they're getting. But the numbers are quite large, and it's a great another tool for any marketer who's interested in trying to promote their coin.
It's definitely, I think, a really cool idea, and it does come with branding as well. Because I think this is definitely reserved for some types of communities. So I can definitely see Doge and Pepe and the likes using this. Some projects using this for sure. And at least for the short term, there might be projects that might be hesitant because they might not want to be perceived as a kind of a meme project. But at the same time, if Bag does get big enough, and it does have a big enough, let's say, army that also takes part in other raids, so not just for Bag, I think it could actually become a marketing force in itself. In that Bag is marketing DAO. If you want to market your product, they've got a lot of people here. All you have to do is buy back a little bit of Bag and burn it, and you've got a big community. So I feel as if right now it's still kind of memey and a little bit, let's call it degen, but it could go in some pretty interesting directions, I think.
Yeah. So let me give you a use case of how I could see this working in a larger scale thing. So there's plenty of larger projects out there who have a treasury, and say the DAO on that decided, okay, we're going to use some of this treasury to do a buyback and burn. So we're going to put $1 million to buy back and burn.
Mm,
So they could just do that, buy it, burn it,
mm,
reduces the supply, puts some price pressure on because it's buying up $1 million worth. That does the job in itself. That's a buyback and burn job done. But maybe that goes, well, hang on,
mm,
while we're doing the buyback and burn, why don't we incentivize our community to want to talk about this, trend it on Twitter, talk about our project more so it actually goes up in the trends on Twitter, more people will start seeing it. So rather than just buying back and burning, you're actually going to say, we will buy back and burn X amount if we get, 100 hashtags of our project on Twitter. So it's a different marketing system. It's still buying back and burning,
mm.
but it's incentivizing it with social media trend as well. So I think that gives it, a little bit more power, a little bit more value. And I think, yeah, bigger projects might see it as just a marketing tool, really.
That is a way better use case than just burning tokens. And like you're right, there's a lot of projects that do this all the time, month on month. So why not incentivize a community to also get the project to trend and increase awareness?
Absolutely, absolutely. So the tokenomics of this bag token is that there's a billion tokens. They are all out in circulation now, as I'm aware. I haven't seen anything about that otherwise. But as we mentioned, the marketers who use the bag protocol, 2% of what they put into it to do their buyback and burn on their coin, 2% of that goes to the bag community by buying bag token and burning that. I said buy and
Mhm.
bag and burn a lot there, so you might have to re-listen to that to make sure I actually said it right. But basically, what that is revenue for bag holders. So there's no treasury for There's no pile of money sitting there. All it does is go straight to buying back that bag token and burning it. So I think that's really great from a decentralized community for bag holders. Is that all of the revenue just goes straight to buying and burning their token. There's no treasury, there's no voting involved, there's no pile of money sitting there, there's no honeypot, I guess, for someone to try and attack or anything like that. There's no will to rug the project because there's no pile of money sitting there for someone to rug the project from. So the developers have got incentivization because they're probably holding quite a lot of the token, but they need to keep developing. They need to keep promoting it because their way of making money is by their token going from value, not by stealing money. There's no concept of
Mm,
rugging it basically, which I think is trying to get out there.
mm. There's very little I can personally see in the way of risk outside of it being a fairly new project and let's say the developers working with. But like you said, it's really unlikely that they would even walk away. A rug pull doesn't look likely at all. And as you said, they're probably holding tokens, and it's in their best interest to keep promoting it and getting people to essentially grow back. The only risk that I personally see is maybe regulation, but not so much from governments or anything like that. I don't think it's quite that big or a threat to governments. But then it might become a threat to Twitter because raids do involve going into threads that are points of interest that may not be related to Bag or even crypto. And Twitter could possibly update its algorithms to look out for things like this and maybe even shadow ban them. So as long as I think they remain within a decent operating scope and they don't go too crazy and wild, I think they should be fine. And I think this is a project I'm going to keep my eyes on. What do you think about the investment opportunity?
It's well super risky because it is very low cap. It's $20 million market cap coin,
Mm,
so it's only just really been released. If someone wants to go and look at the graphs of it, you'll see back in March when they first talked about it, it had a really large increase. It's crashed all the way back down, and now they've actually got the product ready and working, and it's basically regained that previous high. But we're still talking about really low highs in general. $20 million market cap is not a lot. So that's the high risk. It's really early, and it's whether the industry really wants to embrace this and actually use it. So I think the real test is going to be the market. The market is going to decide whether they actually perceive this to be valuable, whether the marketeers for different coins and tokens see the value in using this project to help promote it.
mm,
So
mm.
it's got a revenue stream, it's got a working product, it's gone through beta testing, it's now open to the public. It's high risk, so I would only be considering a very small percentage of my portfolio of it. But I reckon it's a very interesting project and something worth having a look at.
I never thought I would say this about a meme coin, but it looks pretty interesting to me. The only thing I do wish is that I'd kind of caught it when the price was lower. I mean, it hasn't gone too much, too far up. I think it's only gone by a multiple of three, maybe almost four, because it's at 0.019 right now, and it's still lower than its previous highs. I would like to see it dip a little bit more before I'd be tempted to get in. But I've got to say, it's one of the meme coins that I feel actually found a use case, and the use case being memeing itself and other tokens. So good on them.
I would counter that. I've got a different view on that because it's only a $20 million market cap. It's an incredibly small market cap. So yes, it has like 3x within the past week, but that's around the news of the launch going to public. The
Mm,
beta phase is being completed. So to move from a $5 million market, $20 million market, it's not a lot of money that comes into the space to do that. So this is still incredibly early in a project. Yes, it's done in a 300%, but very few people are in a project before it starts to get that notice. I mean, I
mm,
don't think I would
mm,
be investing in projects that are under that $5 million market cap because that's just super risky. And I could probably put $1,000 into a project like that and I would move the price crazy because there's just no
mm,
liquidity. So I think this is still a pretty good opportunity, even though it has had a run up because everything has a run up from 5 million to 20 million. It's very quick, it happens very fast. And now it's got a working product, it's got a revenue stream. Now we're just trying to see if other people want to use it, more people than who are in the beta test. And so
mm.
that's the risk, isn't it? You're taking a gamble on whether you think this product has value to other people. And so
That's
you can't get much earlier than a $20 million market cap, in my opinion.
mm. And that's the thing. When Pepe was going up, I was thinking about this when I was looking at this graph this morning. I remember Pepe had actually two humps before it reached its peak, and I was wondering to myself, well, is this the peak, or is this kind of like a hump of a camel, and is it going to go up again? So I suppose it does always come to a risk at some point because if you did get in way earlier, you'd kind of wonder, well, is this going to go anywhere? It's some people got in early and they've got their profits now, and so it always does come to that fluctuation. Like you said, the market cap isn't that high, so there we are.
Yeah, and I'd also say I wouldn't say comparing it to Pepe is fair because Pepe literally is a meme coin. There's no real inherent value behind it, whereas Bag actually has a project. It actually has a Web 2 interface that tries to generate revenue for the project. So it's not just a meme coin. Yes, it's leaning into being a meme. It advertises other people's memes or advertises anybody's coin. Really, it doesn't really care about what it's advertising or helping to push. So I don't think it's a meme coin. I think it's definitely a project with a revenue stream using a Web 2 AI database to help create social media trending. So
Mm.
it's not as simple as a meme coin. It's got a lot of meminess going to it. I like the project.
I I do like one thing they said in their first ever post, and they quoted Abraham Lincoln, and they said that the best way to predict the future is to take matters into your own hands. And they went on to say that if you look really closely, most overnight successes took a long time. So credit to them. They look like a simple meme project, but there's a lot of serious thought that has actually gone into there, and their branding, I think, is pretty good, and it works. It works with the people that it's targeting really well.
Absolutely. Well, if you've made it this far, everyone, please give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us some comments. Please do your own research on this one. This is a high risk coin and it really could just go to nothing. You never really know. The market may not like this one. So I guess it's a buyer beware kind of thing there. But I hope you enjoyed this and we'll see you next time with Blockcast.
This one was a great one to do, Simon. Thanks, and until next time.